So if you've not been able to hear me until now, good morning. For those of you who have joined on a busy Tuesday, I welcome you all to this webinar on Autodesk Rail Solutions for Metro Projects. So it's about 10:56. We'll give it another 4 minutes before we start off on the presentation itself. Good morning. For those of you who are joining in, we'll start the webinar sharp by 11 a.m. We're just waiting for the others to join in. So good morning, everyone. For those who have joined in right now, I think I see a continuous stream of people joining in as the call goes on. I'm sure many more will join in, as in the next 5 minutes at least is what I expect. I welcome you all to this webinar on Autodesk Rail Solutions for Metro Projects. Before I start off with the presentation itself, I would like all of the attendees to know that towards the end of the webinar, there will be a set of 4 poll questions, which you will need to answer in sequence. There will be exciting prizes to be won for those who attend the poll questions. Please do not miss it towards the end of the session. So immediately after the content of the webinar is complete, I will ask for the poll questions to be open, and then you can start voting during the Q&A. Right? So again, I'm Vivek Ramesh. I'm a technical specialist for AEC from Autodesk. Today we are going to talk about some of the relevant workflows or solutions that may be applicable for metro rail projects. In fact, some of the content also comes from some of the demands that customers have put forth. It may be circled around some of the discussions I've had with customers as to how to position certain products for specific solutions. So even before we go to the actual solutions, I would want you to have a look at some of the prominent metro projects that have been completed using Autodesk solutions predominantly in India as well as across the globe. Chennai Metro Rail, DMRC, Ahmedabad Metro, you name it, Mumbai Metro, Mumbai Monorail was completed about 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, using just Civil 3D. So such is the power of our BIM software. So many other metros, to speak of Qatar Rail, which is the most prestigious project for Qatar government, has also been completed using Autodesk solutions. Whenever I speak with a customer, I make sure that they are in sync with the kind of workflows that are mentioned in this slide. So all of us talk about connected data. Connected BIM for rail is the buzzword when it comes to rail design. Well, there are primarily 3 aspects to this connected BIM. One is how you design, how you build, and how you operate. Well, for the design aspect itself, the engineers, engineers and architects take care of the majority of the workload. Build, the contractors take a majority of the workload, and operate, it may be a combination, of owners and some consultants to operate and maintain the facility that has been built. So to start it off, and we start off having to do the survey itself initially. No infrastructure project or no project as a civil project as such starts off without a ground survey. So people now are giving in to more and more of conceptual modeling or in context modeling even before the actual survey has to be conducted. So the relevance of InfraWorks comes into play, wherein you're not even on site, but still you're capturing the existing conditions as they are and trying to pitch for a conceptual design of or conceptual visualization of the project even before it moves to detailed design. Many of the customers feel that to be able to express the design intent at the initial stage of design itself is very valuable, because it saves them a lot of time during detailed design as well. Well, be it the capture of LiDAR data or DGPS surveys, our solutions help you bring in data. Tools such as InfraWorks and Civil 3D are meant for that. And once you jump into planning and conceptual design, I spoke to many customers, and they've said that the real pain point even before a project starts is to be able to identify the existing services below, overhead and underground or along the ground. Say, for example, it may be power cable going overhead, or it may be underground utilities such as sewage lines, water pipelines, things like that. So it is very crucial that even before a project starts off, we understand the complexities of the ground even before we suggest conceptual modeling as well. Does the the alignment pass through dense settlements? Does the alignment pass through only commercial establishments or industrial establishments? It is very key to understand what parcel of land you're passing your alignment, so that it poses least threat on the existing ecology, economy, and the establishments of the people. Well, once this has ArcGIS connector for Civil 3D and InfraWorks have already come up. This is enabling people to bring in GIS data provided by the owner or the government, as the case may be, to be able to identify the GIS aspects for planning purposes. So once the GIS aspects have been studied and the existing conditions have been studied, it makes it more easy for owners and designers to be able to move to the next stage, which is the design phase. So before, what used to happen was, they used to jumpstart to design even without doing conceptual stage designing, which would cost them a lot of to and fro time. So nowadays they're saying that to be able to do planning and conceptual design in the same model is giving them better and insight into the project itself. So getting into design phase, there are three aspects to it. Of course, whenever I say a metro project, it has primarily three pillars. One is the GIS aspect. Second is the infrastructure aspect, infrastructure design aspect. Third is the building design aspect. So coming to the infrastructure design aspect, you always know that the hero product is Civil 3D here. And for the building station design, it's Revit that needs to be used. And the underlying, as you know, you're intertwining horizontal infrastructure such as rail alignment and vertical infrastructure such as stations, it is crucial that we work in a common collaborative environment. So that is enabled by BIM 360. So now going forward, you know that BIM 360 design supports Civil 3D as well, which is a good news for us to be able to bring in horizontal design as well. Coming to the build stage, well, although we propose all of the projects to be started on a common data environment such as BIM 360 docs, this makes it easier for contractors to be able to visualize the project even or the difficulties of the project even before it is built. This brings in a lot of value to the contractors itself. So be it virtual visualization of the project itself, or for that matter clash detections even before the drawings go to get to construction site. This is very crucial for the contractors. And during construction phase itself, to be able to access data anywhere, anytime, to be able to access the latest version of the design data is crucial for the build stage as well. And beyond this, this data, all this data or as-built drawings and designs will be pushed over to or submitted over to the owner back, and then he will be able to utilize his BIM model to effectively operate and manage this facility, right? So if I were to bifurcate where BIM comes in, where BIM comes in and where GIS comes in, these are the stages. Now, I have been repeating it in many other webinars. So any infrastructure project has 4 different phases: plan, design, build, and operate. So right from the planning stage, the GIS comes into play, right, for master planning, regulation and permitting, so on. Once it enters the design phase, BIM follows suit and gains prominence all the way until commissioning and handing off. So after that, once the data has been handed off to the client back, once the project has been completed, the asset management and monitoring and enforcement cycles start off. So this is a cyclic process for any owner. It's a classic scenario wherein a government client or an owner is involved, and it may be applied for private owners as well. So again, I think most of you have attended my previous webinars on rail design solutions. Well, even for metro stations, this stands good. If you want to embark on a metro project, probably in today's date, the most utilized software, as we've seen, is InfraWorks, Civil 3D, Revit, and BIM 360. So InfraWorks will be utilized to model existing conditions or to be able to do conceptual modeling. Civil 3D will be utilized for the mainframe of the horizontal design, which is the metro alignment, vertical and horizontal alignment design. And I will also emphasize on the importance of Dynamo in this case for civil for track design. Followed by, I mean, this data from the horizontal design should be readily be able to be used in vertical design as well, such as Revit. Now, Revit and in Civil 3D have a seamless data connect, wherein you'll be able to utilize the alignments from Civil 3D or the ground models from Civil 3D to design station models. And of course, the structural design also can be done using Revit. All of this, while we talk about, has an underlying common factor, which is BIM 360. The BIM 360 docs should serve as a common data environment in which you keep exchanging data, in which you keep collaborating with at every stage of the design, and you're rest assured of document management and collaboration as well as you go forward. So this will be the primary set of products that we would always suggest. Now, as with any infrastructure project, planning starts with the aggregation of data, right? To start with, if you do not know, I mean, I was recently speaking with one of the owners of the Pune Metro project, and they were saying that identifying parcels of land through which we should avoid the alignment, or to be able to identify the soil conditions underneath, or for that matter, to be able to identify the existing facilities underground is crucial even before we start off on design. So all this data can be aggregated using the Esri ArcGIS connector, which is available in Civil 3D as well as in InfraWorks. It makes for a completely comprehensive subject. So most of you, I don't know how many of you have tried ArcGIS Connector for GIS. I've always been doing webinars and doing workshops on ArcGIS Connector for, Autodesk Connector for ArcGIS. Well, this is a very simplistic workflow, a simplistic interface in which you'll be able to bring in GIS data. GIS data primarily has three parameters. One is parcel data, or polygon topology. Second is network topology. Third is point topology. Polygon topology may be like the land parcels that have been colored here that you can see. Network topology are the railway lines and roadway lines, the water pipelines and sewerage lines that you see can be called as a network topology. And the point topology, such as locations of fire hydrants, locations of manholes, and things like that, can be point topology. So all this data can be consumed into InfraWorks models or Civil 3D models. This gives a holistic view of a BIM model combined with a GIS model. This has a lot of value for the customers going forward. In this case, I wanted to show you, based on some of the examples that customers have utilized InfraWorks for and ArcGIS for. In this case, GHD, a very well-known consultant, engineering consultant, has developed this InfraWorks model in the downtown Sydney area to be able to show the demography of the area. So, for example, if the station, if they want to create an alignment across a particular city, what is the kind of usage or what is the kind of population that you see in the city live, so that the relevant locations for placing the alignment in between. You always have connectivity issues, right? Basically you want to connect many people at the same time, so you want the alignment to pass through densely populated areas. And also you also want multimodal transport. You want to be able to see where all the multimodal facilities are being, are already there, such as bus stations, traffic stands, and things like that. So that connectivity is not at all an issue. So GHD has done one such study. Based on that, based on the study, you can always go to the alignment design even before, say for example, many people told us that it is very crucial for us to be for us to study the alignment, preliminary alignment, and get approvals of the same. It need not be an exacted model or an exacted design, but it can be considered with some tolerances, but the overall design intent will be made known to the client. So with multiple options, of course, option A, option B, and option C, in which the client will be able to visualize the project in context and be able to comment on which is the most suitable alignment to be followed. At this stage itself, if you get clearances, it is very, very easy for the engineering consultants and architects to move forward with the design. And this was of a lot of value when I speak to many clients. They say, yes, preliminary design with design options, or optioneering as they call it, is of utmost importance when it comes to real design. So early stage conceptual design, well, you want to communicate the design in the right manner. In this case, metro rails are just not about horizontal viaducts and station models, but in today's date, they're saying that it is becoming a multidiscipline. Multidiscipline center in which you may have shopping malls, you can have restaurants, you can have government offices in the same station building or the station terminal. So people are looking for connectivity in multiple ways. I was recently talking to a customer and they said, no, don't just talk about the station, talk about how the station can be developed into a commercial center. They want to develop office spaces, they want to develop shopping malls right on the station terminals, which is a very good thing. In fact, if people had to start and end the journey from their offices to their home, it is no better than to start off from a metro station. So to show these kind of design intents becomes very critical for the owners itself. So architects and engineers are more and more utilizing such conceptual modeling tools to showcase some of the design intents. So once the project moves away from concept modeling, well, there are two ways for survey to be carried out. In today's date, well, no metro project or no metro project is carried out without a DGPA survey, of course, but many people are saying that LiDAR data is of utmost importance for them. Why LiDAR data is important, or point cloud data is important, is the accuracy of the data, the detail of the data, and also the ability to retrofit a project in the existing, in its condition. So for example, you have existing conditions, you may have existing railway lines, you may have existing roadways and bridges and flyovers. And so amidst all of this, you need to be able to carry out your designs. So how do you do that? So LiDAR capture or point cloud capture is one way to assess existing conditions. In InfraWorks, you have the capability of capturing or extracting features as well, feature extraction, in which you will be able to extract the top of the existing alignments, whether it's existing road or existing railway line, so that your designs are, you design around these infrastructure basically. So once existing conditions capture has been done, you can propose your own designs to move forward. In this case, a point cloud data has been captured into Civil 3D, and a digital terrain model can be created out of that. Or if you just want to push it to an InfraWorks scenario, you can just push the point cloud data to InfraWorks as well. In this case, if you see, a point cloud data has been converted to a shapefile, which is in turn being pushed into InfraWorks. So what this gives you, what value does this give you? It gives you point cloud data or as is information, and you can also extract a whole list of issues. Say, for example, I was talking about multimodal transport here, right? Where are the cycle stands? Where are the public, last mile connectivity? You've heard about services like, Bounce and things like that. Where are such facilities, Abogo and Bounce? Where are such facilities being provided? Where is the nearest bus station? So to understand all such things, you can bring in GIS data on top of LiDAR data and be able to do the study. And the impact of your design can be directly seen on InfraWorks. You see here, InfraWorks point cloud extraction sometimes now for many projects is being considered as crucial, specifically for road projects, as I understand, as it captures features such as center of the road, edge of the median, edge of the drain, things like that. Even here, in this case, we're capturing edge of the platforms, top of the rails, which is again crucial for expansion projects. If you're really planning to expand the project, the existing project, it becomes crucial for you to capture such information and be able to bring it into the CAD environment. So a combination of recap and Civil 3D can be utilized. Here, coming to the alignment design itself, the beauty of designing it in BIM software such as Civil 3D is to be able to have a lot of information for you to start off with. Whether it is GIS data, if you see the blue rectangular icons on the top left, those are the GIS data that is available, parcel data that is available. Okay, and it is overlying on top of an aerial image, Bing map image that we have, and using this, a designer will have better clarity about how he wants to design his alignment. So alignment design in Civil 3D has two crucial elements. One is, of course, alignment and profile design, but also crossover and switches. Switches in the sense you have to switch a direction, or you want to take off from a terminal to another direction or a yard to another direction. Switches can be utilized. And if you want to utilize, if you want to move from one track to the other, you can use something called as crossovers. So these three are being seen as some of the crucial elements in rail design as well, which can be applied to metro rail design. Now, you understand, the beauty of having GIS data, aerial imagery, and CAD data to be combined into a single model. This gives a lot of meaning to the clients alike. In fact, I would encourage such methodologies to be used in metro rail design. I would never have, I never wanted to be in a situation in which you're designing without the underlying aerial map in picture, because that itself gives you a lot of guidance as to how the rail alignment should go. So this forms the horizontal infrastructure design, forms the backbone of any rail metro project. So once you have identified the best alignments, you have it through alignment and profile, you're rest assured that your vertical design is going to come through well. Well, coming to the CAD calculation itself, Civil 3D, as you know, has two primary strengths. One is roadway design and second is railway design. Once you select the alignment to be a rail alignment, rather than having a super elevation element coming in, you'll have a cant calculation parameter coming in. So once you have the CANT, design criteria file, you can develop the CANT for the rail. For those who are not aware of what CANT is, it is the super elevation equivalent of, of roadways for rail. So this design criteria file can be edited to suit the country standards as well. Right now, we're developing specific India specific standards for rail and metro. It's in the works, but we've seen many customers already. They're changing the design criteria file to suit the India standards as well. So once this has been done, the CAN design can directly be calculated. If you see there, CAN diagrams come directly on top of the alignment itself. You see, this is very similar to the super elevation diagrams that you have in the road. So once the design has been done, the horizontal design has been done, it is crucial to have this data read into the vertical design champion, which is Revit. Now, Revit should consume in all respects the Civil 3D data. Otherwise, it forms no meaning, because Civil 3D data has the geometric intelligence as well as the location intelligence. So if this location intelligence and geometric intelligence is not read into Revit, it can be a station lying anywhere on the earth. So location intelligence forms a crucial part. Here you can have your Civil 3D model exported into Revit, the ground model, on top of which you need to design the railway model. So this becomes very important, because you just can't have your station models in arbitrary coordinate systems or arbitrary levels. We've seen that many times. People are designing, vertical infrastructure people are designing stations on their own without having awareness of where the station lies, or what is the formation surface that I have to follow for the stations. So this needs to be done using a combination of Civil 3D data, on top of which it has to be developed. So going to the next one, coming to tunnel modeling. Well, tunnel modeling in the Autodesk portfolio has two major outlooks. One is the conceptual modeling, in which you're seeing in InfraWorks, you're able to easily lay out the parametric tunnel models. There are already some libraries that you can use in InfraWorks, but it can also be customized, as you know, using Inventor models. So using Inventor, you can have your custom profiles of your tunnels coming into InfraWorks as parametric models. So not only this, the models that once will be created in InfraWorks can be pushed over to Revit for further detailing if you require it. But I wouldn't suggest this method. Well, InfraWorks, the way you model a tunnel should always be conceptual level. But then if you really need to get into the details to be able to churn out preliminary designs and detailing, you can push it into Revit and have it detailed in Revit. However, I would still suggest moving Civil 3D data into Revit in order to develop tunnels. So coming to talk about tunnels, well, nowadays we've seen we are seeing an increasing trend in the way tunnels are being designed, because tunnels basically are multi-layered in many cases and have many components to them that cannot be sometimes designed using a simple conceptual model. A simple design tool such as InfraWorks. Even in Civil 3D, you'll have to put in a lot of effort to develop a multi-layer tunnel model. So we are seeing now in this case, I just wanted to see this video from from one of the case studies that I will showcase later. In this case, a civil 3D alignment has been pushed in X, Y, and Z it has been read into Dynamo, and using a certain profile, a sweep method, a tunnel can be developed using the Revit and Dynamo combination. In fact, from Civil 3D, you extract alignment and profile information and bring it into Dynamo and be able to model tunnels in Revit using a Dynamo interface in turn. So this is a real project which has been completed. This is for the Istanbul Metro rail project, in which they needed stage-wise tunnel modeling routines, in which they've utilized, say for example, every construction model is about 30 meters long. So they've used constructible and sequencing methods for tunneling and built the tunnel based on those the unit lengths. So there is a combination of Civil 3D, Dynamo, and Revit, which you can utilize to form a tunnel model. Not only this, right now I'm talking about tunnel models. There's another aspect to viaduct modeling as well, which can be done using the same methodology. See, in this case, every unit has its own properties in which you'll be able to modify. Here, in this case, you're seeing a multi-layered tunnel model, a specific shape. I may not call it an egg shape also here. It required a specific shape to be modeled, right? These become your BIM elements, which is so much crucial when it comes to the other aspects. So coming to viaduct modeling. Well, right now, off the hook, we just have just one bridge modeling tool, as you saw. In Civil 3D earlier, we used to have something called as the bridge modeler, which has been discontinued. However, Civil 3D, InfraWorks utilizes this simplistic bridge modeling or viaduct modeling tool, which is based off of a tool called Autodesk Structural Bridge Design, which gives you, all the elements of a viaduct. Well, again here, I would only suggest this to be used for conceptual level modelings or bringing in design for visualization modeling. With this, the alignment and profile geometry is always there, but if you want to add some aesthetic elements or the actual visualization of the project itself, you can bring it into InfraWorks and utilize such a methodology. But for real-time viaduct modeling, as you know, Civil 3D is a linear geometric modeling tool. It may not model the intermittent aspects such as piers, pier caps, things like that. It can only model linear ones such as bridge deck and things like that. So to model pier elements or intermittent elements, I would strongly suggest to move to a combination of Civil 3D and Dynamo. So that's where design automation comes into the picture, in which, in this case, Dynamo now has ability to extract or read from Civil 3D models as well. The corridor models, alignment models, profile models, all can be read, and certain elements can be added to this. As you know, in Civil 3D, in today's date, you won't be able to add sleepers or intermittent blocks for the rails to sit on. So such models can be developed using design automation or Dynamo. Now, electrical poles that you need alongside railway lines, this is very, very crucial now. Of course, many metros may not have it, but you may still have certain metros utilizing electrical poles on certain intervals. Here, design automation using Civil 3D and Dynamo and a combination of CAD 3D models and CSV files, you'll have you'll have a realistic model which represents the as is data. So I suggest start exploring your Dynamo for Civil 3D as well. Going forward, I will also make sure that we have a Dynamo for Civil 3D workshop, which talks about how to approach Dynamo and Civil 3D modeling together. Not only that, coming to station modeling, when I don't know if many of you were part of this earlier presentation on mobility simulation, but there is a module in InfraWorks in which you can do mobility multimodal transport simulation. Say, for example, you're moving through a kiosk, ticket kiosk in a metro station, or you're waiting for a metro to arrive at a particular station. How many people are expected to flow in? How many people are expected to come out? And what is the width of the platforms that you require at every station? So at every station, and the kind of population that flows in or footfall that you have in every station varies, right? So to simulate the number of people coming into the platforms needs a certain simulation, and also the number of kiosks that you pass through also needs to be ascertained based on a certain mobility simulation aspects as well. Well, this nothing starts off without geotechnical profiling. Say, why I brought this slide into the picture is to make you understand the importance of the soil profiling of any metro project. If you see piers, pile caps and piers are crucial. The way in which these foundations are decided are based on the soil profiling or the borehole data logging. So Civil 3D has the ability, or even for that station models, will also be based on a structure that will require the foundation depth to be decided. So in this case, you can study the multiple soil profilings so that you have the soil profile data below ground even before you start off on your design aspect. So for example, you'll clearly be able to know what strata the pile should hit even before you start off. So this is very crucial when it comes to the depth of the pier and pile, so that which will also in turn reflect on the overall costing of the project. So be it for station models or be it for viaduct modeling, borehole log data or soil profiling, as they call it, or ground profiling, can be done using geotechnical modules and can be represented in InfraWorks as well. And moving from the design aspect, as you all know, I mean, I would always suggest that. I'm sorry about the noise here. I'm relying on a lot of videos. Once the design has been completed, whether it is viaduct modeling, whether it is tunnel modeling, or for that matter station modeling, you will be able to do the timelining connecting with Primavera and MS projects or CSV files, as the case may be, and you will be able to do the timelining for a specific project in Navisworks. That is the beauty of the data flow between Civil 3D to Navisworks or Revit to Navisworks. You can do it seamlessly. I suggest you do not miss this process. Many of the customers, I'm happy to note, that are using Navisworks by default, whether it's in Civil 3D or whether it's from Revit. They're utilizing Navisworks in order to do clash detections even before they send it out to clients. So it is very crucial to bring in your models to Navisworks and do the timelining or the costing, or for that matter clash detection, even before you push out the construction drawings. Now, what is new? Well, from this year on, from last year onwards, you are aware that from the second half of last year, in fact, we had this Civil 3D collaboration for a BIM 360 design. So that was a shot in the arm for us because we didn't have BIM 360 read horizontal design data, right? So horizontal design data wasn't read into BIM 360 environment, but now you can read InfraWorks models as well as Civil 3D models directly and be able to do all the kind of functionalities that you use for Revit models in Civil 3D as well. Okay, so if you see here, what is collaboration for Civil 3D? Now for BIM 360 design, Civil 3D has its collaboration. Now instead of saving a drawing directly onto your machine, you can directly save it onto a BIM 360 hub from which data can be accessed. The beauty of BIM 360 design now is that it allows for data shortcuts. Data shortcuts are nothing but, you treat them as XREFs for Civil 3D. No, you know about XREFs from AutoCAD, wherein you don't want to make the drawing heavy. You're bringing in data from other drawings. You're referencing the drawings. Similarly, data shortcuts can be created for Civil 3D to reference different data such as surfaces and alignments. So even these things can be referenced. Now, in this case, if you see, data has been referenced into Civil 3D to be utilized into further design, right? And not only this, the drawing, the drawing that can be constructed, the drawing that can be designed also has a versioning system to it. You will be able to compare different versions and be able to revert to any specific versions. Now you see, drawing compare applies to 3D models of drawings as well, right? So you can revert to any particular version that you're talking about. And similar to the Revit environment, Civil 3D drawings can be visualized. Issues can be created at specific regions. In this case, a road alignment is overlapping a rail alignment here. Such things can be monitored and resolved at the design stage itself. I strongly suggest customers to start using the BIM 360 design collaboration for Civil 3D. It is working seamlessly, and for metro projects, it is crucial that you imbibe on such common data environments for design as well. Well, coming to starting off with conceptual design, detailed design, then we came to 4D 5D aspect. We do not stop the conversation at that point without mention about BIM 360 portfolio that we have. So, BIM 360 is a document management and construction management software. For those who don't know, of course, many of you, I'm sure, are at least aware of BIM 360 Docs and BIM 360 Design. Well, in a recent conversation that I had with the customer, they were asking me what should be my common data environment platform. Well, you outrightly say it is BIM 360 Docs. BIM 360 Docs should serve as your common data environment. And if you're working, if you're in the audience today, if you are from an engineering consultant or an architectural firm, you should talk about BIM 360 design. In fact, you will be able to collaborate with many of the stakeholders, such as architects, engineers, contractors alike, right? And if the audience is from a contractor side, what will make more sense to you is the BIM 360 coordinate and BIM 360 build part of it, which is nothing but field management and pre-construction management as well. Now, see, if you see, the single data repository for all of this is being served as BIM 360 Docs. So if you want solutions on design collaboration, it is BIM 360 Design. Pre-construction, BIM 360 Coordinate, and field execution, if you want any tools, it is BIM 360 Build. BIM 360 Docs, I'm sure you already know that it is seamless in model navigation. Now, with the added strength of BIM 360 support for Civil 3D, you will be able to do the exact same exact same views in BIM 360 for Civil 3D models as well. Model navigation, document control, permission. So this brings in a lot of flexibility to the project as to whom you assign what roles to. Version control, again, clients are asking us for, version control, because this forms a crucial element of any common data environment, wherein you'll be able to compare versions as to what has changed drastically or version over version. The best part is you can revert to any particular version and the contractors will be updated accordingly as to what changes have occurred. Review and markup. The beauty of it, you already saw in the BIM 360 design for Civil 3D, and also so is the case with BIM 360 for Revit as well, Revit models as well, wherein you'll be able to review and mark up specific issues and then send it over to the relevant people. Mobile access, again, you can access both horizontal and vertical designs in your palm tops. You can directly take your data to wherever you are. The beauty of having BIM 360 is anytime, anywhere access. And this is exciting many customers, because they want to stay away from the hard copy kind of formats that they are used to read. They don't want to be able to, they don't want to carry the data, the hard copies all the time everywhere. And they don't even know how to mark it up and send it across to the designers if there needs to be any change. So BIM 360 coordinate, of course, you can do model navigation, clash detection. It's, it is nothing but Navisworks on the cloud. It forms a very interesting module for the contractors to check the model for correctness. Right, I think I'm almost at the top of the hour. I'm sorry, I'll have to rush. I had a lot of things to cover. And clash detection, of course. More and more clients or owners are asking for on the go clash detection. At least they say, if the BIM model is on the cloud, why not have clash detections as well, even before it at the pre-construction stage, even before it goes to the construction stage. So BIM 360 coordinate allows for that. If you want field management software, we have BIM 360 build. You can take documents to the field. You can have a whole set of issue management and have inspection templates, daily logs, and RFIs and submittals and things like that. If you need more information, we can always arrange for a separate session on the BIM 360 portfolio. Right? You can have your custom checklists. We saw that many contractors are, imbibing on a custom template, which can be developed using BIM 360 build. So you can have an entire dashboard as to what issues are completed, what issues are pending, what issues are still to be, right? So I'll really need to rush through this. So this is an example. I just wanted to show you this customer example of, the Istanbul Metro, which one of which I showed you earlier. This was the first public BIM mandated project in the world, in which they utilized a host of Autodesk, portfolios, solutions, including Civil 3D, Revit, Navisworks, and BIM 360, as I talked about earlier, and also InfraWorks, not to forget. So the one more crucial thing that they used here is the computational fluid dynamics, Autodesk CFD, to develop evacuation plans and emergency plans. Visualization was done using InfraWorks. This becomes very crucial for client buy-ins as well. So collaboration, the underlying common data environment was of course BIM 360. So how did they achieve that? Well, I mean, this is already up on our Autodesk website for all to see. So they had this, first BIM mandated project that came up, and then they had to go through a series of things. They had to assess the existing conditions using InfraWorks, and also be able to bring in point cloud data into the model using recap and a combination of InfraWorks, and show the stakeholders or owners as to where they want to place the various infrastructural elements. So they also identified, this also gave them a lot of impetus in identifying the existing facilities that are there, like such as power lines and so on. And they moved to a collaborative environment using BIM 360, wherein they effectively combined civil 3D models and station models from Revit and moved it forward. If you see there, they say, one station itself revealed around 620 clashes. So, they resolved a lot of issues using Navisworks in this project. And when the client came in, they used a combination of Revit Live and Unity to showcase the station models that they had developed. This gave a lot of strength in approving the projects. This shortened the time for approvals of the projects as well. And last but not the least, the most crucial aspect of this project was it was mostly underground. So tunnels formed the crux of the design. So they used a combination of Revit, Dynamo, AutoCAD, and Civil 3D and Navisworks to carry out the design successfully. So apart from this, it was very important. Like most of the alignment went underground. It was crucial to understand the computational fluid dynamics in case of fire, in case of smoke. How would the calamity proliferate through the tunnels and the stations? This was also done using Autodesk CFD. Of course, this wasn't possible without the BIM models coming in from Civil 3D and Revit. So this is how they completed. Of course, at this point in time, I request the moderator to open up for poll questions. Please, open the deck for the poll questions. There will be a set of 4 questions. Please do not miss any of the 4 questions that are coming up. The first question is up for poll. In the meantime, I will also review some of the questions that have been coming up. Do we have metro? Okay. Do we have MEP works in metro projects in this module? Well, MEP, of course, Revit forms the crux of the MEP modeling as well. Architectural and MEP modeling, Revit takes care. Lokesh, this is for you. Does Civil 3D support different sleeper configuration in one single rail track? Meaning, can we have different types of sleepers using a range? Well, Shinu, we will have to use a combination. Sleepers can only be placed intermittently using a combination of Dynamo. So you need to tell Dynamo along the alignment as to what shapes need to be placed and at what intervals. So I think you will have to work on a combination of Dynamo and Civil 3D. PSI question. I didn't understand what this. Hi, Kamlesh Shetty. Geotechnical model for Civil 3D is free, or do we need to purchase it? Manoj, it is free when you purchase Civil 3D. How is file locking work in Civil 3D for BIM 360? So, well, file locking can be done using the desktop connector, wherein you'll be able to, say for example, if you're using the file for usage, you can lock the file until you have completely done the design and can choose to unlock it for the users. I see InfraWorks screen, not BIM 360 screen. Manasa is saying, well, I didn't know which screen you're talking about, Manasa. Maybe I'll try to make amends if there are any. I'll run through the presentation and see if there has been some mismatch. Can we have different session for BIM 360 full portfolio? Jyotirmay Bishoy. Yes, of course. There is a BIM 360 full portfolio webinar coming up. Please stay on the lookout for invites from us. I think it's happening sometime towards the end of March or early May. So please keep a watch on that. The second poll question is out. Please fill out all the poll questions. The second question for the poll is out. Please vote for some exciting prizes coming your way. Where can I get training on Dynamo in Delhi NCR? Arnab. Well, Arnab, I think Capricot has a certain training unit for Dynamo. I'm really not sure, Capricot Delhi. But I suggest, I mean, most of you who are starting to learn Dynamo, I will always suggest a starter course from LinkedIn Learning to understand the Dynamo interface first. Of course, I completely agree. It is not an easy thing. It is just not off the off the table that you can start utilizing it off the counter. But then you'll have to run through the nuances of Dynamo even before you start utilizing Dynamo on Civil 3D or Revit. So the third poll question is on. We can, in the next couple of minutes, the question and answer session will also end. Please make sure you answer the third poll question as well. Please do not miss out. Are there any questions that I can answer further? Yeah, third poll question is out. I request the moderator to send out the fourth poll question in the next 1 minute as well. We want to arrange InfraWorks training in Mumbai. Are you ready to give training in? Well, Prashant, we primarily will rely on our channel partners for training in Mumbai. Prashant, which organization do you belong to, so that I can mention the relevant channel partners who can handle this. Is already complete the training in LinkedIn, but I'm looking for complex modeling. Well, Arnab, I mean, down the next month, I may have a Dynamo, workshop. Otherwise, you look out for another webinar which is coming through on specifically on Dynamo down this month. So during that, we'll be able to answer wherein you can get some complex modeling training for Dynamo. So the fourth poll question is out. You can start voting. Okay, Narayan Reddy, did I cover almost? Okay. Oh, there's so many questions that come in. How can I get Can't report in Civil 3D? Can't report in Civil 3D. I think it's currently, you'll have to check it in reports. Frankly, it should be available in the report section of Civil 3D, but I'll have to check once. Narayan Reddy says, as you observed a few cases in geotechnical models, sometimes surfaces cross each other when the same type of soil is found in the bottom of, instead of creating separate surfaces based on type of soils. Oh, it's a pretty long question, Narayana. Well, I think if in case of surfaces intertwining, we may not have much to do, because that is the soil profile that lies. Any suggestion on action on file sizes with Civil 3D? Well, Manikandan, I would suggest you utilize Civil 3D data shortcuts in order to save on Civil 3D file sizes, and keep annotations to a minimum, annotation and hatch to a minimum. Okay, I think that's it's almost at the end of the hour, and I really thank one and all for having attended this web session on rail solutions for for metro rail scenarios. I hope all of you have answered the poll questions here, and please look forward to some exciting prizes coming your way. Thank you and have a great day.